Hi, this is Colin McCredie and I would like to share a short story for the Florrie. Now this is a story that I remember from when I was at primary school and I still absolutely love it. It's called The Goalkeepers Revenge and it's by Bill Naughton. Sim Dalt had 2 long, loose arms, spindly legs, a bony face with gleaming brown eyes, and from the age of 12 he was reckoned to be a bit touched in the head. Goalkeeping was the main interest in Sim's life. In his nursery days, the one indoor pastime that satisfied him was when his mother kicked a rubber ball from the living room into the kitchen, while Sim stood goal at the middle door. It was rare even then that he let one pass. He later attended Scuttle Street Elementary School, where he was always gnawed with the ferocious wish for 4 o'clock, when he could dash to the Cinder Park to play goalie for some team or another. Even in the long, hot summer days, Sim would cajole a few non-players into a game of football. "Shoot 'em in, chaps," he would yell, after lovingly arranging the heaps of jackets for the goalposts. The harder, the better. At 12, he was picked as goalkeeper for his school team. "If you let any easy uns through," the captain Bob Thropper threatened him, "I'll burst your shins in." But he had no need to warn Sim, for it was rare indeed that anyone could get a ball past him. It was near the end of the season, and Scuttle Street were at the top of the league and in the final of the Mayor's Shield, when a new and very thorough inspector visited the school. He found Sim's scholastic ability to be of such a low order that he directed him at once to Clinic Street Special School. "I suppose you could continue to play for us until the end of the season," said Mr. Speckle at a meeting of the team, "and then at least you'd be sure of a medal." "What, sir?" interposed Bob Thropper. "A cracky school lad play for us? Sir, that would be out of order." "But what shall we do about a goalkeeper?" asked the teacher. "Goalkeepers?" snorted Bob. "I could buy 'em and sell 'em." "What?" asked Sim, staring at Bob. "What do you mean, buy 'em and sell 'em?" "I mean that they're 10 a penny," grunted Bob, "especially daft uns." And having made his point, he snapped, "Off with them togs, mate. We want 'em for our next man." And Sim removed his boots, stockings and shorts. But when it came to the jersey, he hesitated. But Bob grabbed it. "Buy 'em and sell 'em. That's me." There was a tear close to Sim's eye. "I'll never buy you," he hissed, "but I might sell you one day." In adapting himself to his new life, he was quick enough to grasp any advantage it might offer. He organised games in the schoolyard, and for 2 years enjoyed some hectic, if not polished, goalkeeping. At the age of 15, when his mother took him round to different factories for work, he simulated idiocy so as not to be taken on. "Now stop this shenanigan," his mother scolded him. "You're no more barmy than I am, and you know it." "Well, you should have told the school inspector that," remarked Sim. Every morning, with the normal intelligence boys gaping enviously at him through the factory windows, Sim would set out for the Cinder Park, bouncing and heading a football all along the street. At the age of 19, he accepted his first job, since it did not interfere with his way of life. Also, it had possibilities. It was at Brunt's amusement arcade, where the chief attraction was a beat the goalie game. There were goalposts that appeared to be full size, and a real football, and all comers were invited to try to score. It cost 3 for a try, and anyone who scored received 6 in return. Sim, of course, got the job of goalkeeper. Maggie Brunt, the owner, was a wizened, red-eyed woman. "How's it going, lad?" she would say, giving sly slaps of apparent goodwill on various parts of the goalkeeper's person. By this cunning form of greeting, she had caught out a stream of employees who had been fiddling, having one pocket for Maggie and one for themselves. She tried it out on Sim, time after time, and never once was there the faintest jingle of metal, until finally she decided that this lad must be simple, if not honest. The fact was that Sim, who did things with singular efficiency when he had to, had constructed a special pocket copiously insulated with cotton wool and provided with various sections for different coins. Had Maggie turned him upside down and shaken him like a pepper pot, she would not have heard the faintest jingle, so expertly was it contrived. There came a day, after some 6 thrifty years, when Maggie decided to sell the arcade, and Sim was able to buy it from her. "Bless you, lad," sighed Maggie. "They say you're gone in the head, but I wish there was more like you." "It wouldn't do," remarked Sim, and not without a touch of regret he removed the cotton wool from his pocket. Bob Thropper's visit to the arcade was the start of a remarkably prosperous boom for Sim. Bob was a thick-set, dark-jowled footballer by this time, an idol of the Hummerton crowd. His tremendous kicking power had broken many goal nets, winded or knocked senseless a number of goalkeepers, and on one occasion, it was said, had actually smashed a crossbar. One night, just after a cup tie victory, Bob and his teammates, merry though not drunk, were passing the arcade, when one suggested having some sport with Sim. "Skipper," whispered Stan Mead, "you smash one in." Stan Mead dived into his pocket for threepence, when Sim called out, "Do you like to make it pounds instead of pence?" The challenge was taken up at once, and in a moment £11 notes were flung down, and Sim covered these with as many out of his own pocket. Then Bob Thropper drew back, took his short confident run, and let go with one of his famous drives. Sim was up like a flash and brought it down with stylish assurance. Then, with a casual air, he threw the ball back. "Are you covering the 22 quid?" he asked. The money was covered in 2 minutes. "What about waiting till somebody nips off for your football boots?" asked Stan Mead. Bob shook his head. "I could lick this loon," he snorted, "in my bare feet." And with that, he took a second shot. It was good, but not good enough. Sim leapt and caught it on his chest. Bob's face went darker than ever. "Fetch my boots," he hissed at Stan Mead, "and I'll smash him to bits." A huge crowd swayed the arcade when Bob Thropper prepared to make the third attempt. The £44 had been covered so that there was a pile of pound notes on an orange box with a brick on top of them. After having his boots tied up, Bob Thropper removed his jacket, took off his collar and tie, and nodded to Stan Mead to place the ball. The crowd went silent as he took the short run and then kicked. The ball flashed forward. It went like lightning, a knee-high shot. "Goal!" yelled a voice from behind. But a long, thin figure whizzed through the air. There was a thud. The figure dropped to the ground. Nobody could be sure what had happened until Sim stood up. His face was white, but he had the ball clutched against his heart. Slowly, he went towards the orange box and picked up the money. "Closing time," he whispered in a low, clear voice. The crowd set up a sudden cheer, volley after volley. From that night on, Sim Dalt became famous as the goalie Bob Thropper could never beat. The arcade flourished. Sim got offers from many teams, including one from Hummerton Club itself. "When I join your club," he told them, "it'll not be as goalie." And it was not many years before Sim's words came true, for there came a chance for him to buy a considerable portion of club shares, and he was voted a director. One September morning early in the season, he was taken round and introduced to all the players. "Meet Bob Thropper," said the co-director, "our most famous centre forward." Sim looked at the man before him. "Centre forwards," he remarked significantly. "I can buy him and sell him. Or," he added, "I can at least sell him." Some vague and long-forgotten moment of memory was evoked in Bob Thropper at these words. He stood there frowning. Then, as Stan Mead nudged him and spoke, it all came back to him clearly. "Bob, you better be looking for a nice pub to retire to," Stan whispered fleetingly, "because this chap means it." The end.